Good morning. It's finally here. The NOAA virtual conference, NOAHCon 2020, starts today. I'm Mike McGowan, the Executive Director of NOAA, and the purpose of this session is to give you a brief overview of NOAA and to talk a little bit about how to best enjoy the conference. So, to get started, I'd like to welcome you again to NOAA's 18th National Conference. Due to the pandemic, we're doing this virtually. And typically we do a welcoming session for first-timers, but this session is really meant for anyone who is going to be participating in the virtual conference this weekend. So what I want to do is to talk about NOAA history, to talk about NOAA's future, and to give you a few suggestions on how to get the best out of the conference. So a little bit about NOAA history. NOAA was founded on October 15th, 1982 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Our traditional birth date is when 7 people got together to discuss forming an albinism support group. This group was gathered because they were doing a NOAA conference, an albinism conference the next day in Philadelphia. The name NOAA comes from an acronym that was inspired by Dr. Carl Whitkop of the University of Minnesota, who was a researcher who noted that in apocryphal literature, somewhere in the Dead Sea Scrolls, I believe, the biblical Noah is referred to as a person with albinism. So using the acronym NOAA became the goal. And they were quick to come up with the first 3 letters, but it was hard to come up with the H. So what Dr. Whitkop did was, after thinking on it, the morning of that first albinism conference in Philadelphia in October 1982, he said that that they could use the word hypopigmentation to add on to NOAH, the National Organization for Albinism and Hypopigmentation, and that's how our name came to be. NOAA was officially formed on November 1st, 1982, and the first officers were Janice Knuth, who is a person with albinism and was a social worker, Ruth Ryan, the mother of a daughter with albinism, Jean Leake, and Dennis Moore were also part of that. NOAA's mission is to act as a conduit of accurate and authoritative information about all aspects of living with albinism, and to provide a place where people with albinism and their families in the US and Canada can find acceptance and support. And we do this through a variety of programs and services, which you'll hear about throughout the conference. We have a number of little commercials at the end of our sessions that inform you about what NOAA is doing. Our tradition is that we're a parent and adult with albinism driven group. We're grassroots. We rely very heavily on volunteer and self-support. We operate basically on member contributions, and a large part of our income is the Bowl-a-thon and Spring fundraiser, which we are now calling Spring for NOAA, and a very few grants, and currently and throughout our history, no government support. So the organization got started in the 80s, and as you can see on this slide, in March of 1983, we published the first issue of NOAA News, which later became Albinism Insight, and the organization became incorporated, and the first national conference took place, as well as we received our tax-exempt status from the IRS. Later on in the 80s, you can see that, true to our mission, we started to put together information in various forms that were appropriate for the day. We a program was set up to create information bulletins. A facts about albinism was published, and information for parents and teachers was published. In the 90s, we continued our tradition of publishing with the student with albinism in the regular classroom. This was a cooperative effort with the National Association of Parents of the Visually Impaired. We added a toll-free number. We had our first adult day, which incidentally was my first exposure to NOAA in Chicago in 1993. And this may sound very trivial and kind of trite, but in 1995, NOAA came up with its first website, and that at the time was pretty cutting edge. Later on in the 90s, we added an educational video. We made a big step in 1999 when we hired Lori Aubrey as our administrative services contractor, and she's been with us for over 20 years. In 2001, our rapid response program, which is now called the Parent Liaison Program, or the New Parent Program, started, and we did a video to help raise money. A lot of activity started happening in the mid-2000s with the advent of the Welcome Toolkit, which many new parents have received. We did a number of events. We started our family camp, and we published our first parent book, and we started the tradition of the Bowl-a-thon. And also in 2006, we had a very successful national awareness campaign surrounding the release of the movie The Da Vinci Code. Later on in the 2000s, we continued to ramp up our services by holding a number of mini conferences. In 2009, we initiated the Leadership Scholarship in 2009. In 2010, I was honored by being hired as the first executive director. We also initiated the Parent Connections program in 2013, and the second parent book was published in 2014. Later on in 2015, we launched a revamped website, and in 2016, we got into social media, where you'll see us today on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. In 2017, we did a large organizational revamp by rewriting the bylaws, and in 2018, we again revamped our website and came up with a new member database. There are three organizations that I'd like to mention that that NOAA is associated with. Our sister organization is the Hermansky-Pudlak Syndrome Network, that's headed up by the amazing Donna Appel. They've been working on supporting the HPS community for 27 years or so. They do an annual conference, and NOAA is an annual supporter of the Hermansky-Pudlak Syndrome Network, as well as being a supporter of Positive Exposure, which is a wonderful program headed up by Rick Guidotti, whose mission is to change the way that we view beauty and embrace difference. And we are also happy to have been associated with an organization called Asante Mariamu, which was started by a number of NOAA members in response to the terrible atrocities that take place in Africa. So I'd like to talk a little bit about NOAA budget and finance. Our income basically comes from fundraising events. As I said earlier, our Spring for NOAA fundraising campaign in the spring accounts for roughly half of our income. We're very grateful to all of the event hosts that put themselves out there to raise money that keeps NOAA going. And in recent years, we have relied heavily on increased donations from our membership and from foundations and other benevolent organizations that have been connected to us by our members. Our expenses are roughly 80% to direct programs and services and about 20% overhead. We need to keep in mind that a great deal of our work is done by volunteers, and that keeps the whole overhead very low. I'd like to talk about our annual budget. We have a 2-year cycle, and in the non-conference year, we have a roughly $350,000 budget, and in our conference years, and this year will be a little bit different because we're not meeting in person, but roughly we have a budget in the range of $550,000. And I'm very happy to report that NOAA now holds over $400,000 in long-term investments and operating reserve. A word about conference finances. This virtual conference was able to be done free of charge because of two very generous donations, one from Beverly Kaiser of Illinois and another from the Delta Gamma Foundation. Other support for NOAA that's been generated around this virtual conference are donations that came from people who were registered for the physical conference but made the generous decision to donate all or part of that registration fee back to NOAA. And I'm very grateful for those of you listening who, when you registered for this virtual conference, that you also made a donation. I would encourage anybody to consider that as you, if you haven't done so already, to consider that as you go through this weekend. You'll hear about that frequently. NOAA's vision is that there will be a world where people with albinism are empowered to be fully functioning members of society, where the barriers of stigma and difference no longer exist, and where people with albinism have a quality of life that is rewarding, dignified, and fulfilling. You can be part of making that vision come true by supporting NOAA, by attending our programs, by donating, and by volunteering. And again, you'll hear a lot about that over the course of this virtual conference. Our goal really is to become a self-sustaining and staffed non-for-profit, so that whenever a parent is faced with the surprising diagnosis of a child with albinism, when teens are looking to fit in, and when adults with albinism need support in their job and in their lives, we need to be there. So and you can be part of that. You and your children are the future of NOAA. Now let's turn to some conference tips. So this is all kind of new for us. So we know that we can't replicate an in-person conference where the magic of being part of a community really comes together. But through this series of sessions that we have set up over the next 4 days, there are opportunities for you to ask questions and be part of the dialogue. You'll see invitations to do that during the recorded information sessions, and I encourage you to participate in the interactive sessions. We have a number of social activities for all age groups, and we would encourage you to stop by the Albinism Town Square. Now that's on a platform called Gatherly, and it's really cutting edge technology. You'll hear about that and see that on the conference portal, which you've obviously logged into if you're seeing this particular session. Look for the Albinism Town Square there. We've scheduled 9.5 hours over the next 4 days, and it's an interactive platform by which you can log on and look for people who are logged on at the same time and have a one-on-one or small group discussions, much like if you were in the ballroom at a physical conference at a hotel. I would encourage you to attend the opening sessions. There's a lot of great information there. And in particular, I encourage you all to attend the closing session. We have a very, very special performance at the end of that particular session that I think everyone in the community will be inspired by, and it's certainly something that you really don't want to miss. So I know that people's plans change, and I know that things come up, and this platform that we're on will be available for the next month or so. Some of the sessions that you see on the schedule will be recorded and will be made available later on this platform. So with that, welcome to all the first timers who have never been part of a NOAA experience before. Our arms are open to you. We hope that you find the information you're looking for and have the opportunity to connect with people. And I welcome all of our loyal followers who have been to one conference or many, many conferences. Please enjoy the conference.
Hi, this is Sheila Adamo. I'm here to talk to you about the Parent Connections program that has been going for the last 6 years, connecting parents of children of albinism of all ages across the country, Canada, and actually other countries too, if they're able to call in. This program meets twice a month, sometimes in the day and sometimes in the evening. You just have to pay attention to the schedule that's posted on the NOAA website. And we bring into your house via your internet support from other parents as well as other professionals in the field. As a member of Parent Connections, we also record the calls, and you are able to have access to those calls if you missed a call. So to join Parent Connections, just go to the NOAA website, find Parent Connections, fill out the brief intake form. You'll have a short conversation with me, and then you're in Parent Connections. If you're a current member of Parent Connections, thank you, and I look forward to connecting with you again shortly. Talk to you all soon. Bye.